So yesterday we played OP-07 pre-release in my locals and I was able to win the pre-release winner kit, as you can see. We played 5 rounds, 32 participants, but after 4 rounds going undefeated we just shake hands in the final because we had top 4 players getting the pre-release winner kit. Leader that I used as captain kit from the starter deck 2. A lot of players decided to play Bonnie from the OP-07, and I think these 2 leaders are the best pick currently for the pre-release. However, I still think that used as captain kit has an edge because it's easier to play around Bonnie's effect than it is to play around used as captain kit effect. And example will be that to play around used as captain kit you need to develop blockers, and in this set we have only 1 blocker in common slot and all the other blockers are a little bit harder to open because they are uncommon and higher rarity. And the second point is used as captain kit effect is always active because we are drawing a card per turn. So even if it's a useless card, we can ditch it for the used as captain kit effect and then swing twice for the high numbers, either to take over the board or pressure the life cards. On the flip side, when we play Bonnie, just for 1 Dawn investment in our opponent's turn, we can rest one of the characters or leaders, so also a very strong effect, especially that we have a lot of cards that are synergizing with this effect in the OP-07 set, like Urush or even Basil Hawkins. So overall, as long as you have strong fundamentals, it doesn't really matter if you play Kit or Bonnie. These 2 leaders should be enough to bring you the victory or at least top placing in the pre-release events. So now let me show you the deck I built, and my boosters were not the best, I would say. So yeah, I was forced to focus a lot on the fundamentals and how to make the best use of my Dawn leaders effect and the cards. So let's start with the 2k counters, and as you can see I opened 9 copies of 2k counters. These were the all 2k counters that I opened. So as I said in the OP-07 pre-release preparation video, just take all the 2k counters that you can, because even though we had them in the common slot this time, they are always scarce. So between 8-10 2k counters is like optimal quantity. Here I had 9, so I took all of them. And as you probably already noticed, they wasn't really that playable. Maybe Kaku would be possible to be played, but I opted to use them only as a 2k counters. I didn't play down any of them. Another defensive options were obviously blockers, and here again I picked all of them that I could have picked. Here, small highlight to the Baccarat, very strong blocker because you can filter your hand from your bricks and they become 2k counter. Very useful. I use it a lot, also my opponents, so for sure recommend playing this card. Then we have Urush. Even though I play the kit, I still pick him because it's a strong blocker. Obviously, if you can pair him with the Bonnie leader, then this combo is just amazing if you are lucky enough to pull him and also draw him early in the game. Then we have Champ blocker that I played the most because I had 2 copies of him, Bartolomeo, and then all the other blockers. Shaka is really interesting blocker in this set because you can pair him with the stage from the Egghead Island and attack with him, and then at the end of a turn, if you have a stage, he will get untapped again and you can use him for blocking. For pure value, I had 1 game where my opponent triggered the stage from life, if I remember correctly. He had Shaka on board and I had to really put a lot of thought how to play around it because he was just restanding him every turn. So very exciting game, but as you already know, spoiler alert, I was able to win all 4 the games, and the 5th game we just handshake. So these were the defensive options. Again, 9 copies of blockers, 9 copies of 2k counters, and I picked everything that I opened. So whenever I opened the pack, I saw blocker, I saw 2k counter, I just pick it. Don't waste time, just pick everything. It's really unlikely that you will have too many of them. I would start considering cutting them if you have over 10 copies. So if I have over 10 2k counters, 10 blockers, then maybe cut some of them. But in this environment, especially, blockers are really important. Then I have bread and butter of the pre-release deck, so all the vanilla cards. Nothing exciting here, and I didn't really open a lot of cards with the vanilla stats. Just even curve, only 6 copies, so I still had a lot of slots to fill in, because you see I have 9, we have 18, and plus 6, 24 slots already taken, so I still had a lot of them to fill in. Even though the foundation of the deck was here, I was still lacking some push power or powerful effects. And speaking about cards that I include that didn't fit into any of those categories, were the cards that could affect the game state in some way. One of them was Ain, that can reduce any character to 0 power and still have useful stat line of 6000 power, so I was able to reduce the opponent's character, especially if they play big vanillas, trade into it and still have some attacker on board. The only downside is the 7 cost of Ain. I had blue gem, like I said in the preparation video, strong when attacking effect, but I wasn't able to use it even once. And then we have the MVP of the pre-release events, Jewelry Bonnie. Whoever opened the Bonnie had a lot of advantage if he was able to draw her. Especially when you play Kid Leader, you might have a turns where you can put a lot of pressure on your opponent's life. Just ignore the board, swing with the kid, set up little for the next turn, then for 5 play the Bonnie, freeze the character on board. Remember, it's only for the character, because I had players that tried to freeze the leader. Bonnie only works on the character or the Don, so don't make this mistake. Remember, character or Don, not the leader. The next card I used once, I think, was Fish or Tiger, pseudo rusher into opponent's characters, strong stat line again. Then obviously for the participation you get used as Captain Kid, mostly for the stats, but you can also force your opponent to attack into him, but I didn't even play him down, I think maybe one game. Then we have Edward Weevil, very powerful card because he allows you to set up your top cards of the deck when attacking for the 6k, because you need to have Dawn attached. Very powerful card, allows you to plan your turns a little bit better. Then just some filler cards like Gecko Moria just for the stats, the same for the Boa Marigold and the Big Bun, just for the statistics alone, to have something to play just in case, to keep the consistency of a deck and focus more on fundamental level into how to trade the characters, how to attach Dawn and how to apply pressure on the opponent. Then I have a card that I think helped me win one of my matches, Morgan's. I played him on the first turn going second. So what I heard in my locals were split opinions if you should play him early or at the end of the game. My opinion is that it's better to play him early, because you get to see early hand of your opponent, and in the game where I played him, my opponent had only 1k counters in hand, so I knew how to put enough pressure on him or his characters, knowing that for any 6k swing he needs to use 2 cards, so I didn't need to risk 7k swings and overcommit the Dawn into my leader or characters. Very powerful card for the pre-release. And then from my pre-release pack I opened Atlas. Very strong card, but I didn't have time to play her and didn't draw her in the times when I needed her for her effect to take place. And the last card again for the statistics, Jinbe, 5 cost, 6000 power, beater. So as you can see, the same as I said in my preparation video again, for the filler cards I pick some cards that have either powerful effect like Bonnie, or the cards that have 1k counter and are in between 4 and 6 cost. Okay, exception is Ein because of the effect, but all of those cards can attack the next turn because of 6 or 5000 power stat line. So just focus on this consistency and the rest should be solved by your fundamentals. And the last 4 cards that I have today are events. So was Karmic Punishment, Slow Beam, and 2 copies of my Rayquaza Help. This is basically guard point for the players that are long-term players of One Piece, so obviously you need to pick it for the defensive power in the late game. Maybe bite your opponent to go for the game and then you just counter with 3k and kill them next turn. Very powerful card, and because of this card you need to be always cautious when going for lethal but your opponent has open dons. Slow Beam, interesting card, because you can give minus 2000 power for the turn, so kind of counter for the kit if you can play it in the correct timing, and then just Karmic Punishment as a filler card because of the KO trigger and some defensive power if needed. I had one game where my first life was Karmic Punishment and the board was still empty when I took the life a little bit greedy, and unfortunately I had no target to KO. And for the finish of the video I want to inspire you for the better and smarter deck building, especially in the pre-release event. So I want to show you the exact mana curve of the deck. So as you can see, we don't really focus in this expansion on the turn 1 or turn 2 play going first. Sure, we have some blockers and 2k counters with 3 cost, but it's not the main focus. The main focus is to have 4 cost, 5 cost characters. I think the ratio was 9-9 in this scenario. So the idea is if you have 8 copies or more of a card, you are almost certain that you will have it in your opening hand. So we must be confident in our 4 don turn and our 5 don turn. So focus on those picks. Then we have some high-end characters, but not too many. Most of the times you need just 1, because there are situations, especially when you play against Bonnie, where it's better to either swing with the leader or maybe go a little bit wider with your character so you can pressure a little bit more the next turn, because your one character will be always rested. Then you see I have just 2, let's call them tech choices, so Morgans and Ein, or some shenanigans in the early game or later when I need to clear one body. The rest is just 2k counters that are also mixed up with the picks for 4 and 5 don. The chomp blockers, healthy amount, 2 for 6, to protect the 4 cost or 5 cost characters, because the main idea of the chomp blocker is to save you the counter power. If you play the character with the 6000 power, you rest it. Obviously, if your opponent wants to clear it, he needs to attach Dawn to swing at least 6k power. So if they swing 6, 7 or even 8, you can consider using 2k counters and, for example, pair it with 1k counter. But if they overcommit, or you don't have 2k counters in hand, then you use chump blocker. You trade one cheap card for the bigger threat to stay on board. And again, if they don't have any stronger characters, they need to invest even more to attack into this stat line. And also, like I said in the preparation video, so maybe some validation here, that this simple list was able to get to the finals and get the pre-release winner kit. So, validation of my skill to help you get better. The events, don't focus on the events. I think 4 were already too much. To be honest, I could just cut those 2, play only the yellow guard point and be okay, and fill up other 4, 5 or 6 cost character if I had any. It was the problem with my opening, that I had to pick 4 events because all the other characters were pretty much bad for the deck. So that's it from me. Let me know in the comments what do you think about this list. What do you think? Is Eustace Kid stronger, or maybe Bonnie? Or maybe some other hidden pick that you discovered during your pre-release, and obviously let me know how your pre-release went. But now that pre-release is over, we will be focusing back on the standard format for the OP-07, so stay tuned for new videos. But that's it for today. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Subscribe for more One Piece content. Bye bye.